we are getting prepared for the first panel discussion that we'll be having today. And we have interesting speakers, people who are involved into communities, building communities, and dedicate themselves to moderating these communities. So we're all humans. We like to communicate with each other, and community is can lead us to great success if it's managed properly, right? So we can achieve very good results, and our speakers of the panel discussion will share the best practices and their success stories. Okay, the moderator of panel discussion, Vova, is here. Hello, Vova.
Hi, everyone. We're just in time to say hello to my son.
Oh, great.
Yeah, great to meet you, Max. I always love your background images. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not an image, but I love it.
Most of the cases is break wall.
Is it some kind of a Terminator artwork there, or what is that?
Oh, guys, this one I bought in Hong Kong. I've been to Hong Kong several times, and these are skyscrapers from Hong Kong.
Oh, I saw the
Island.
I thought it was some eye of a robot or something. Yeah.
No.
Very topical. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, good. So I think it's time to introduce everybody. Vova, let me introduce you. To those who don't know you, you are a very famous person from Smartcat and always live in community. So Vova, editor-in-chief at Smartcat and connected translation community lead. And we have amazing panelists today with us. So Vova, giving mic to you to introduce.
Let me introduce
everyone.
So, yeah, thanks, Max. You told almost everything we had to know about community in your lead-in, but we will try to somehow fill up the remaining 40 minutes. So, okay, we have just 40 minutes. We have so many ground to cover. I will just briefly introduce our panelists today. We have with us Lloyd Flower from Alconost, a company that uses community management to a very high degree. We have Irina Rybnikova from Women in Localization, and also from, I wrote it down, Positive Technologies, right? Hi, Loie. Hi, Irina. We have Jan Hinrichs. I think everyone knows who Jan is, so no need to introduce. But Jan is the CEO of Beluga and also the founder of LocLunch, the biggest meetup ever in all industries. And we have Simon Akhrameev, who is the founder and the main guy behind the super successful group on Facebook that is called Successful Freelance Translators. So as I said, we have a lot of ground to cover. So communities is such a big thing, right? Everyone kind of understands this, but I kind of understand it because I manage Smartcat's community. But I wanted to start our talk with the goals of having a community because it's not always that clear. And I want to start with Simon because he manages a freelancer community, and freelancers are like the living blood inside the industry. So I think it makes sense to talk about this first. So Simon, maybe you can tell us what made you start this group, what goals you had, how it evolved, and how it is doing right now.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Vova. Thank you for inviting me to join this great discussion. I hope you will find some interesting information from it. So I started this group back in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and I was going to create a closed community of freelance translators where we can share our experience regarding the business practices, marketing, blogging, and so on, a promotion of translation services on the web. So this was the original purpose of this group. But gradually, it gradually shifted to another focus, and now we are mainly a group, a kind of support group, where we ask different kind of questions, where we conduct polls to know the opinion of our audience, and also we share information about events, webinars, and similar kind of things. So the overall goal of this group is to create a closed type community where we can discuss industry issues like rates, communication with clients, maybe some technical setup for translators, some technical issues overcoming these difficulties with technical things like CAD tools, setting up dictionaries, extracting terms, working with different file formats, and so on. And also we wanted to render any other type of assistance needed and asked by fellow freelance translators. So the group size right now is 10,000 members. We recently hit this kind of ceiling, achieved this great step, and weekly or monthly audience, monthly active audience of this group is around 5,000 members. So, and on the average, we have around 3 to 4 posts a day. Of course, the activity depends on the time of the week and the time of the day, but in general, it's about 3 posts per day. So it's not too annoying if you use Facebook frequently.
I think that's the point. Yeah. Make sure everyone to join the successful freelance translator or translators. What's the correct? Translators group on Facebook if you use Facebook. And by the way, we have this comments in the chat that it is one of the best groups. Thank you, Simon, for this introduction. Yeah, make sure to check out the group. By the way, there's already like 500 people watching us. So make sure to share this event, because remember the tagline is stronger by sharing. We're sure you have lots of friends who will be grateful for your sharing this amazing opportunity to learn from the best minds in the industry, like myself and all the other guys in this room. So this being said, I was browsing the chat, and I think like 90% of comments go to Jan here, like celebrating your greatness, I guess. So Jan, you founded LocLunch. You used to be the CEO of Beluga before that, I think so, although I'm not sure. Maybe you can tell us what brought you to this idea and how it all turned out.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, first of all, to Vova, to you, to Smartcat, to Max for organizing Log from Home again. This is just an awesome opportunity to get insights. Agilent really enjoyed it. So this is community, like I understand it. So it's bringing together like-minded people and grow together in all aspects. And this was the motivation for LocLunch as well. When we started in 2019, early 2019, it was getting together, getting to know people from the same industry in a location, physical location. Seems so far in the past, but in 2019 we met offline and we had a great lunch together. We discussed problems of our day-to-day life on a peer-to-peer basis. And this peer-to-peer basis was so inspiring and so good, this experience to be able to learn from each other, not on a broadcast, but on a peer-to-peer basis, that it went viral last year. So in 2019, 2020, it grew to above 600 events, I think we're now. And it's just an awesome global community, which we really hope to grow even further, to get to every part of the world.
Yeah, great. I have quite a few questions, but I think we will leave them for discussion. Thanks for this introduction. I do think that LocLunch is one of the most amazing things that happened to our industry. Next, I want to talk to Irina, who leads the EMEIA. I'm not sure what is the correct way to pronounce this. I think it's Europe, Middle East, India, and Africa division in Women in Localization. So, Irina, your community, if we can call Women in Localization a community, is pretty like purposeful, right? It's built around the purpose of advancing women's rights in the industry. So maybe you can talk about this, how it works and where it brought you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for this discussion, because I believe that communities are the key point in our industry right now. And I represent today Women in Localization. This community was founded in 2008. It has 28 chapters in 20 countries, so it's pretty huge. And our mission is to foster a global community to advancement of women and localization industry. So we help women to grow within their career. We help them to train, to learn about new technologies, to get gated access to exclusive webinars, discounts, early bird registrations, job boards. And we have social media like global website, blogs, and you can post there too. We have mentorship program, we have leadership skill development. So everything that you need to grow, to know something new, to grow, and to make visible. Sometimes we need it in our industry. So the key role in this community are volunteers. So they do everything, and I really appreciate it. And it's really supportive. We all speak on the same level. It doesn't matter who you are. You're a freelancer, you're a company owner, you are from LSP side, or I don't know, client side, just an expert from any sphere, not only localization, because leadership is not like localization skill only, but I believe that networking is the most important part of everything. So we have friends and we have colleagues from all over the world. And yeah, like a small ad, go to our global website, click the become a member button, and you'll get everything. Men are welcome, women are welcome, everyone can become members.
And everyone else as well. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, by the way, join our all communities, join Women in Localization. I'm not sure it's a click away, but you can try join LocLunch. Jan, is there a page to join LocLunch, right? Or do we just follow you on social networks? You are muted, so you can unmute.
So sorry, we have a page. It's not super sexy, but we are working on.
Yeah, you are muted again. Your computer keeps muting you randomly. So yeah, I already said where we can find Simon's group, and you can also join, just in case you wish, Smartcat's community at smartcat.com/community. There's already plenty of interesting discussions going on, so make sure to check it out. And now we have our last but not least panelist, Lloyd Flower, and I know your case is pretty peculiar because Alconost manages a community not of translators, but of people outside the industry, which is pretty interesting to hear about. So tell us about it.
Yes, hi everybody. Thanks again for inviting us to the panel. It's really a great honor to be part of the second Lock from Home in my case, so I'm super happy about that. Right, so I work for Alconost, and what we're really interested in is intersecting different communities together and sort of bringing, all the insights that the localization community has to other communities who actually could really benefit from what localization and translation industry people really know a lot about. And unfortunately, other industries aren't necessarily that aware of how localization works. And there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in connecting different industries. And what Alconost does is it works a lot with IT and gaming communities that already exists, that in parallel with their own community, and finding ways of collaborating on projects to help them bring their passion projects to fruition. Some of their projects aren't necessarily funded, or they don't have the know-how, the translation know-how, they don't have glossaries and that sort of thing. So, or even the tools to really make their projects happen. So what we're interested in is how we can work with those communities and make some great work together, whether it be gaming or IT, and following those trends that they're working on and bringing that into localization. So whether it be GitHub or Stack Overflow, there's a lot of ways that localization can get involved in those communities.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot, Loie, for this brief introduction. I hope we will get back to it at a later point. I want us to switch to Q&As right now, because we have quite a lot of, maybe not lots of questions, but I think they're interesting, and we can ditch the part when we can discuss prepared topics and discuss the questions instead. So there was this question I liked very much from Mariana. I won't attempt pronouncing the whole the whole name. So Mariana from Smartcat community asks, there are so many communities nowadays that it is hard to keep track of everything that's going on. Groups on LinkedIn, Smartcat community, thank you. Groups of professionals on Facebook, Proscon forum, and groups, and so on. Do you see this as a good thing because it gives people more options, or is it bad that we are all scattered? So anyone wants to go for it, to answer?
I'm happy. Or
Irina. Okay. Thank you. I think it's good because you can try any community you like. You can visit events. You can try what do you feel. Some of us are members of different communities, and it's not a problem. So just try, decide what you want, and go further. I think choice is the best way to try.
I'm totally with Irina in this sense. I'm part of Women in Localization. I'm LocLunch. At LocLunch, of course, I'm a Gala member. Each association or group or community has a unique purpose and a very different approach of communication. Of course, we have certain topics that are overlapping, but in general, you know, what Irina said, make up your mind, try to articulate your question, and then go out and find the answers in the communities, because they are there and they are more reachable than ever before.
I think there's also a fun thing that different communities have differing levels of support and like the overall atmosphere. So sometimes you want to feel good and you go to LinkedIn, you post something, everyone congratulates you, you feel good. But sometimes you want like harsh criticism, you go to Reddit. For example, there are also some communities out there and people like tell you exactly what they think about it, which might not be always pleasant, but I think it's a good thing to have this spectrum of things.
But it's interesting that last year we all moved online. So you can try whatever you want in any region, in any country. You can do cross-country, cross-chapter communication, and it's like a flash. It was like a boom last year. So that's really cool.
I think it also gives everybody an opportunity to become better digital marketers for themselves. You know, like when you have so many different access to different tools now to spread the word about your business, maybe more than you had before. And you can basically choose what format works better for you. Maybe you're not so into Instagram, or maybe you really love Instagram and you want to post a lot of beautiful pictures. Maybe you're more into writing long LinkedIn texts about yourself or about what you've been up to. So I think there's so many different formats you can choose from. You don't have to do everything. I think it can be overwhelming if you like, I need to be present on everything. You just choose the specific ones, like as Jan said, that really work for you and concentrate on those. Don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think it really makes sense to focus because otherwise you'll be doing too many things at once and it never works well, just like in translation.
There is not too much to add to this topic, but I would like to add something anyway. It's almost inevitable in nowadays to have multiple options, and it's really good to have a lot of diverse groups where you can find literally anything which belongs to your sphere of interest, and choose wisely what kind of groups are basically provide you with the right information. So that's good to have a lot of them and choose, or maybe even learn to choose what you actually need.
Yeah, it's also a skill. Okay, so we have Mariana, who hope this answered at least partially a question. We have a question from Javi Diaz, who also runs a community that's called LocLife. Make sure to check it out. I think Javi was pretty active in sharing it on social networks, so you might have heard about it, but check again. And Javi asks, how can localization communities like Women in Localization or others contribute to make sure that everyone always has equal access to leadership and other roles? So there, I said it. Javi did.
So this is Irina actually for women in localization.
Yeah.
Yes, but I want to like understand the correct like question, the tone of the question. So
It's friendly. Javi is always friendly.
yeah, I know, I love Javi. So I think that from our community, and I believe that from other communities too, we are like empower each other, and we are trying to do our best to provide equal support and equal quality information to everyone, to every member, and even if you're not a member, you can join events and try it. So I see that all the volunteers in all the communities are doing their best to help each other. So there's no bosses and others. There's only equal level communication, and you can try, you can test. Do you like to work with these people? Do you like their companies? Do you like this sphere? You can try new roles sometimes. For example, you never tried social media, but you can do social media as a volunteer and try, maybe it's your future. So you can test, you can like estimate, and you can think about your future plans. So that's opportunity. And I think it's equal from volunteers. And I think maybe coming back to the questions, yes, we are trying to support women in our community, and I think it's important. So if you want to discuss like more details, numbers and everything, I think we can do it like somewhere else, but just want to share time with others. So I have like a lot of things to talk about, but maybe later, yeah.
Javi said that this is a question he is preparing for his women leadership panel coming up on March 3rd. So here.
Maybe there's one, sorry, Vova, there's one point I would like to add. So sure. We as community leaders here on this panel, and Javi on your panel, of course, it's about us to create this discussion about equality. You know, and I'm father of 2 girls, 9 years old, so of course I'm a little bit powering my own future, their own future. So, you know, we need to talk about that. We need to be vocal about equality, and I think communities have this huge broadcasting possibility. So now it's out in the wild, the discussion, and the more we, especially those who are like very visible in the social networks and so on, the more we talk about that, the more we try to give our bit to make it happen. I think we make it happen. It might take time, but we all are adding our bit to these causes. And at the end, it's also for our own sake, because we need to build the society of tomorrow. So it doesn't work if there's inequality.
Yes, and I think I believe in equality in every level, not only in middle management, but top management too. So our localization industry has 70% of women. So that's huge. My goal is to help anyone to grow and have equal abilities. Yes.
Super. We have a question about the COVID pandemic from Yulia Burmistrova. She asks, what changed in the community landscape during after the COVID-19? How are mostly offline community events such as LocLunch adapting to the changes, and will we ever see offline events again? So I think Jan is the best poised to answer.
Yeah, that was, of course, a huge shift from offline to online from 2019, where we really felt this communities growing everywhere. We saw these great pictures of people from our industry who have never met in the same city, having lunch together. Irina in Moscow, 20, almost 30 people getting together there. That was amazing. And then suddenly LocLunch lost the lunch in the name, because suddenly it was no way to go lunching with other people in the industry or at a whole. So in early March, I advised also all the community, to stop going out for LocLunch very early, because there's no means in risking health over some business or just that. That was a tough call also, because we know that we had a very good position at that time to grow, and it was a great community and so on. But after a few weeks, it was clear, this nobody knows how long this will go, and we are still in the middle of it and don't see really an end in front of us. So I think there was a very interesting point where we tried as a community of ambassadors to motivate people to say, okay, this feels really strange, this online being on a LocLunch virtual, no lunching, shall we lunch, shall we not lunch at the same time, eating in front of the camera, but just try it, get a feeling out of it. And within 6 weeks, I think we have seen the first online versions of LocLunch. And from there on, we had last year, 2020, almost half of all the 350 LocLunches that took place were virtual ones. And we have seen a community dynamic within these virtual communities, which were unprecedented in our industry before, because Marina, for example, in San Diego, built up a huge followership. We have all over the world, also small cities that would have never probably be a place for a LocLunch, a physical LocLunch, because of size and so on, are suddenly on the map, and with a great followership. People coming from all parts of the world just to go to Leipzig or Dresden LocLunch, because it's just great, and the ambassadors are great, and the community there is great. So suddenly there was a huge shift. The way we communicated in a LocLunch changed a lot. Suddenly it's more listening to what the whole group is doing. There's a new experience, and I'm very proud and happy that so many people and ambassadors, LocLunchers, embraced virtual. And I'm sure this will be the future, a virtual hybrid offline model in the future as well.
Yeah, perhaps.
I can add that at the beginning of last year, we were all shocked. What's going on? What will be next? A lot of experts were afraid of online tools and everything. But starting the second half of the year, I saw that, for example, within our communities, all the chapters started to communicate more and more. People from small towns, from other regions that are not covered, and who wasn't able to visit real offline events, they started to join, they started to communicate, they started to do joint events from different regions. So this is some kind of huge growth and huge opportunity, and I really believe that it will keep growing. So coming back to normal life, we'll still keep offline and online events, and I believe that tools will help us to do, because for example in Moscow I have a request to do offline LocLunch with online translation, so streaming. So I don't know how to do it, but I'm thinking about it too. So I think the same for other communities. We are hungry for information right now. We want to get as much as we can, no matter where we are. Can we just go to the place, or we just want to listen to streaming? So yeah.
Makes sense. We had some more questions, but I actually want to touch on some topic that was on my mind, so I will hijack the time. And it is about the fact that we usually only communicate within our own industry communities, and sometimes it can be like an echo chamber when we praise each other, but the outside world like knows nothing about what's going on, and they have all kinds of assumptions about localization and translation, like Loie said in her introductory like lead-in. So maybe Loie, maybe you can talk a bit more about how exactly Alconost works with these outside communities and how it helps, maybe some tips and so on.
Sure, yeah, no problem. So yeah, in the scope of what we're doing, as I mentioned before, localization is not really well known to many other communities, but there's a lot of passionate communities outside of ours, even maybe more passionate. I don't know. The localization industry is very passionate, but like IT, game, and all that, they're all very passionate as well. But there's a little bit of a gap in terms of knowledge and the know-how in order how to make some of these projects come to life. For example, on GitHub, there's a lot of different projects that are ongoing where technical writers and translators are writing document in the code and finding ways how we can adapt to creating translations and documentation in code as well in order to better work with developers and IT communities who are working in those ecosystems. But the problem there is that, a lot of the time the processes are a bit slow, or the style or the quality is what's lacking a little bit. So how vendors and language service providers or communities can help those developers and community developers is to provide them with like style guides and how they can write more consistent work, glossaries, and also the role of the LSPs is mainly to check for that, to do that final proofreading of their work, to make sure that they're not, that there's no errors and whatnot, and also some sort of a moderation. There were some instances the Google notified us when there's some like sort of not so nice wording and not so nice like insulting topics and that sort of thing in some of those published content, and LSPs can help communities moderate the content that they're putting out there, by working together. And when you work with a community, you really need to, be aware that, I think it's any community, whether it's localization or developers or gaming and communities, that you need to know that these people are not working for money. They're working for their passion. And so you need to really take that into consideration, and help them as much as possible. You need to provide them with guides. You need to also think about their suggestions. I think in women in localization and the other ones, like there's a lot of suggestions coming from the members. And so LSPs need to also think, like really take those to heart, even in other communities that they're working with who are actually the experts in their niche, and really take that to heart when they're working together, and also find ways to compensate the community. I think that in many cases we forget, okay, like they're working for free, we can't overload them with work, but what can we give to them if not actual a salary or something like that? So like maybe access to beta testing or of something that they're really passionate about, or free access to a game, or maybe some other seminars and conferences. But I think that's really important to find ways of how we can give back to the community that are helping us so much on projects, and making sure, like in any community that we're working with. So I don't know, maybe you guys can share like what you guys give back to the community, maybe in women in localization, how you give back to them for making like such a big effort in helping towards your main goal.
Thank you, Loie, for such an interesting point. But I really like your idea of getting information and requests from members. So as I see, I want to pause on this this point, because as I see, there is a huge amount of technology requests. We want to know what's next, what's going on, how machine translation works, custom MT, and voice translation, everything. But on the other hand, there are a lot of requests about soft skills, how to communicate, how to position myself, how to communicate with others, like marketing, sales. You're like a head of department, I don't know, developers. So because we are not like separate industry, we are integrated in the whole company spheres. So and this is we have a lot of discussions about it, and sometimes as a community we just need some fun. So we have events just to have fun, to see each other and discuss something. So yes, of course, it only can be live when you react on your real members' requests. And it's not about technology only, but there are a lot of other topics to discuss. Yeah. So thank you for this time.
Simon, what do you think? I mean, most of members of your group, they are there also like volunteering. So what do they get?
What I think about what exactly?
Giving back to the communities, like people participate there not for the money and like, I mean, you're also not there for the money, but perhaps you get some, I don't know, coverage, exposure, and so on. So
I think that as I already mentioned in the beginning, I've been conducting a kind of free promo campaigns for translators who were eagerly joining this activity in our group. So once a week we conducted a promo Wednesday. It was called like promo Wednesday, when everyone in the group could share their blog posts, share their websites or pages on Facebook or something like this, and other members who also joined this activity supported other members by liking their pages, sharing information about them. This was a kind of an initial step in online marketing. This way we tried to help translators get like initial exposure on the web to see how it works, how you can get followers, how you can get shares, and so on. So, but sometime later, this activity went to zero. So not, there were one and the same people, like maybe 50 people who joined this activity regularly, and not so many new people who were ready to spend some time just to click like and write a comment on other page. So I decided to stop this activity, this promo activity. Maybe I will resume it later, but not now. So maybe this kind of free promo activities might be a good step in the initial stages, but not on the next stages. Now, I'm trying to search and find interesting, involving articles, maybe some good webinars, which can bring benefit to our members, and share it at especially that time when most people will see it. So bringing the right information to the right audience, I think that is not too direct maybe answer for this question, but at least we try to
information is
provide the right information to our members who invest their time in the community right now. And also I'm trying to answer all the questions that appear in the group, at least those questions that I can answer based on my expertise, like this.
Guys, for some ironic reason, a lot of questions came in the end. I see that Jan wants to answer the question about the education gap. Unfortunately, we don't have time for this because we'll be cut off the air like in 30 seconds. But anyway, I wanted to thank you very much. Jan, Loie, Simon, Irina, I think you all were great and provided some very valuable points for our listeners. I hope so. So make sure to join all the communities mentioned: LocLunch, Women in Localization, Successful Freelance Translators, and Alconost community. I'm not sure how exactly you can join it, but you can reach out to all of us on LinkedIn and we will help you. And Max is already here, so he will probably tell me to shut up and like go on. Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed this.
Yep, I came to say thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, Vova, for moderating this, and we appreciate the great timing. So
yeah, thanks a lot for having us, and best wish to all the communities out there, Loc Life, Comprometidos, and of course the Smartcat community here. Great to have us, for having us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.